This is Chip Maxwell, and you're listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. Please welcome, for the first time on our show, financial advisor Darren Worthington. David and Darren unpack the latest retirement planning pitfalls and tax policy shifts, starting with a dramatic IRS ruling that could upend Roth conversions. They explain why this matters for high net worth savers and how Congress may or may not intervene. Plus, hear why investing without a plan is like running with scissors, and how a smarter strategy can protect your retirement future.
Joining me for the first time in the studio, at least on this side of the camera, he's been in here before, Darren Worthington, one of our financial advisors. Darren, how we doing, bud?
Doing great, David.
So this is your first time being on the show, so we always like to kind of do a little introduction to our listening audience. We've got faithful listeners for almost 8 years now, so we would like to just introduce you to them. You've been in the financial services for many years. We were introduced a couple years back through a mutual friend who's in the industry, and you lived out in Denver. And you actually, I think we met. I was the keynote speaker, I believe, right, at a conference?
Yeah, that's right.
And then, I don't know, maybe it was 8 months, 9 months later, you ended up right here at our tax mastermind, which we actually have coming up here in about 3 weeks. We're doing one of our 2 annual tax masterminds. This is where advisors like you, we charge you some money, but you come in and learn, we call it a little heavy-handed dose of tax planning strategies. Talk about that experience for you when you first came to that, like drinking from the fire hose, as everyone always says, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's obviously a lot to learn. And one of the things that you say is, people just don't know what they don't know. And even as an advisor, there are many parts of tax planning, especially if we're being proactive, that we're not exposed to on a daily basis. But here at Retire Smart, we do talk about these things on an ongoing basis, so they're really top of mind.
What's the number one bill? The client's face, right?
That's for sure.
So, but anyway, long story short on your background, you went back, started implementing some of this stuff in there, and then we're, calling, asking some great follow-up questions. We have a group that we help coach and what have you, and lo and behold, you're like, well, would you ever consider just coming out and opening a branch in Denver? And we actually, someday maybe, but not right now. And you just happen to have a son who lives, that's our irony, is your son lives, I think, less than a mile from me. Your son is literally just down the street from me. And you have family here in town, and you're like, well, what if I was willing to maybe just move back there? Is there a spot for me at the inn? So I was like, well, what do you think about Lincoln?
Yeah, it's just amazing how things work out sometimes. I had been following you, through your podcast and through the radio show for a while, and the message that you delivered just really resonated with me. I align with a lot of your philosophies around holistic and proactive planning, especially in the 5 key areas that we focus on with the SMART plan. But getting to work with you and the broader team to develop my expertise around tax was something that was really attractive to me for sure.
Well, I think it's awesome. You've been ingratiated with the team. The team loves having you on board, and you hit the ground running several months back in our Lincoln office after we opened it up. In fact, you and I were just talking before we went to start recording this week's show is you're meeting with a very nice high net worth client this afternoon, and you're taking one of our CPAs down there, Evan Marshall, CPA and certified exit planner. This high net worth individual client, somebody that I've met with before as well, and they have a business that was sold. They have some large assets that need to be sold, some real estate holdings, things like that. And so that's what's unique is we have this collaborative approach where you can bring in a whole team. We even have an attorney on site that can get involved. So having a CPA, attorneys, and well-trained advisors collaborating on the client's behalf, especially higher net worth clients, it just gets better outcomes, at least in my years of doing this. And so we're just excited to have you on the team. So
yeah, no, and I'm super excited to be able to plug into the team because most traditional advisors today, they might do a little tax prep with coordination from a CPA, but very few are doing proactive tax planning or ongoing tax management like we do. I mean, it's an ongoing thing that we do from one year to the next because things are always changing, as you know.
And to your point, even somebody like yourself who is always, since I've known you, been going to conferences, getting knowledge, you educate yourself, you invest in yourself. And I think that's the mistake a lot of advisors make is they stop spending on their own education just because they're in the business. You've got to constantly upgrade your own education in I do it in all kinds of areas. But, when you're out there on that island, it's hard to implement when you don't have the sounding board. And, I think one of the coolest things you had talked about is our Friday afternoons, how we spend them. Talk about what Friday afternoon looks like here for all the advisors on our team.
Yeah, Friday afternoons are very unique here. Incredibly educational. We spend
Number
time.
one, we're actually working still.
We are definitely working. We're working hard all the time. But on those Friday afternoons, what we do is our case prep time is where lead advisors will present upcoming cases to the broader group. The way I compare this, an analogy that I use is I worked in the medical space for a very long time. And once a month, the entire hospital will get together for something called grand rounds, where one physician will present a case and walk the entire hospital through that case from beginning to end. We do things like that every week here to just sharpen one another. And make sure that we are delivering the best strategies possible to
and it
clients.
helps. We have several younger advisors who, just out of college, et cetera, and they get the education and the volume experience that would take a seasoned advisor of probably 15 years to acquire, and they get it rather quickly. So, I think it's just fantastic they were able to do that. So what's been your favorite part of joining the team? What do you think?
There's so many different things. I think, the fact that there is this broader team, not just the advisors, but we have really a very strong support staff as well that helps us to be able to focus, on our clients and being in those conference rooms and delivering the best advice. Plus all the other support that we have from the admin side of things. It just allows us to stay locked and focused on what we do best.
Well, speaking of focusing, we believe in the team approach, and we talk about it here on the show all the time. We have each of the advisors, we kind of ask them to really become, our resident authority in different areas, and you've taken up long-term care and we'll have some classes coming up on that as well. We'll be launching in the near future. But I think that's what's so cool is someone down the hall, you were walking down the hall the other day talking with one of our Social Security specialists in one of your cases. Somebody else was walking down the hall asking somebody else an estate planning question. And, we have this collaborative spirit. And so having these different experts, and it's great because your clients get to come to any one of these classes, over 100 of them this year. That's a lot of fun, right? And teaching like that.
It is a lot of fun. Being able to educate people on these topics that they just don't have a lot of access to. Unfortunately, here in the U.S., there's just not a lot around financial literacy. And, on the topic of long-term care, when I first joined Retire Smart, one of the things that was really eye-opening to me is I came to a class called Smart Spend Down Solutions, and we had an expert by the name of Michael Luna come in and talk about Medicaid strategies and how clients can potentially navigate and maneuver, that scenario.
Avoiding the 5-year look back and not having to spend all their parents' assets or their own assets down if they're in nursing home care or something similar. And that's just it. It's this education. And I think it was your ex-wife's parents needed the planning instantly and it was able to help them, get a better outcome. So, that's awesome. So, hey, we're running out of time for this first segment. We look forward to hosting your first class, but you are hosting an event for us Monday night, right? We have a movie in Lincoln that you're going to be hosting there. So where is the movie at and what time is that?
Yeah, we're really excited about this movie. It's The Psychology of Retirement. It's at the Edgewood Cinema, and it will be starting at 6:30 p.m. We're going to have a whole team of people out there to help serve the people that are in attendance. And what's really exciting about this, David, is Paul Ferguson, another advisor who I work with very closely in the Lincoln office. We are opening our calendar up for the next 10 days after that event so that we can help serve people, who are concerned about these 5 areas of retirement.
No, that's fantastic. And the documentary just does a great job explaining the pitfalls. It follows about 6 different baby boomers through kind of what their fears are. And it's a really well done. No obligation. You can attend the movie. You just have to get registered for it. So you can call the office or go to the event page and get registered for that. And it's going to be Monday night, July 21st at 6:30 p.m. at the Edgewood Cinema in Lincoln. All right, Darren, thank you so much for stopping by the studio this week.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. If you want to learn how to generate lifetime income, reduce your tax bill, and maintain your lifestyle in retirement, visit retiresmartpodcast.com. And make sure to subscribe to keep up with new episodes every week.